Hello, welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts, and I've been asked many times if you can use watercolours to colour your resin, and the honest answer is I don't know. So what I've got is I've got some watercolours here. They were the cheapest set I could find, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to break them up into some little pots to see if you can turn them into colour for resin and if it makes any difference. So I'm going to use the fluorescent yellow, the white. I use black quite a lot in my resin work, so I'm definitely going to try the black. I believe that is turquoise, so we'll try that. There's a green. So I think that'll be enough colours to try. It'll give us a good idea of what they are going to do and how they're going to react and whether they're going to change the colour or not. So how I'm going to do this is, I could do this in my pestle and mortar, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a blade and I'm going to just scrape a bit of the colour off into the actual pot itself, as opposed to using a pestle and mortar. So this is the moment of truth. I've got my resin mixed up and I've scraped off some of this watercolour. It was a lot harder than I thought it was ever going to be to scrape it off using the blade, so I did end up popping it in the pestle and mortar. I have no idea how this is going to react, or even if it's going to colour in any shape, way or form this resin. If it does, it's going to be quite a cheap way of getting some good colours, because, to be honest, that pot didn't really cost me much and I didn't use a great deal of it. So let's give this a bit of a stir. Oh, well, it's definitely changed the colour of the actual resin. I am going to let it sit there for a few minutes before I pour it as well, to enable it to dissolve even more into it. It's made some very pretty colours. I don't know if it's going to be opaque or whether it's going to be translucent or what it's going to be, to be honest. But they're all mixed up now. I'm going to be leaving them for about 4 or 5 minutes just to dissolve, let any bubbles come up, and then I'm going to pour them into these two moulds that I've got that are identical so that we can test it. So I'm ready to pour these in now, and I have given them another little stir and I've let them settle, because the ones where I put more in it, they do feel a little bit gritty, but the one where I didn't put much in at all, which is like the yellow one, they didn't feel gritty at all. So I'm hoping that some of the grit will have gone right the way down to the bottom. They're pouring quite nicely and they do look to be quite an even colour. It's not affected the resin so far on how it's mixing. I mean, it's not heated it up in any way, or it's not caused it in any way to react. I don't know if it's going to cause it not to cure. It shouldn't do. It should absolutely be fine. Well, what we'll do is, I quite like those colours. What we'll do is we'll leave those for probably about 24 hours, I think, before I go ahead and take them out of the mould. So I'm going to do a multi one here with several different colours in to see what happens there. Just going to go over them with my lighter as I normally do. I want to treat them equally as I would any colour that I've mixed or any resin that I've done before. There we go, that's got rid of most of the bubbles. I'm now going to cover these up. We'll leave them 24 hours and we'll come back to them and we'll see how well the watercolour actually colours this resin. Well, these have all cured now, and to be honest, they're looking good. And they're not sticky at all. And they've made some really nice, quite solid colours. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there to dislike at all. I'm really pleased with how these have come out. They're nice and hard. I love this one, and I love the pattern that it's given as well. The black is a very solid black, and so is the white. So overall, I would say definitely, if you can get hold of some really cheap watercolour paints, then there's no reason not to mash them down. They're not gritty at all. There's no reason to not mash them down and use them if you particularly like the colours. I love how those colours have blended in and mixed in with each other. Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Check out the video that's coming up next, which was another experiment I did with chalk. Enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.